Wowie wow! We've got a new hot sauce for you.
It's so delicious.
It's spicy.
It's spicier for sure.
Spicier. It's called Harvest Moon, made with ghost peppers, American persimmons,
and spice bush berry.
It's gonna be great. We also have t-shirts available. Brand new t-shirts.
The best t-shirts, I think.
Baseball tees.
Scrumpers United.
If you've collected apples, if you've collected fruit, you're
welcome to the club.
You're welcome to a club. You're a scrumper. So check out our merch store, wildedibleworldpod.myshopify.com. Wowie wow! Get hype for another episode of the Wild Edible World podcast. I'm just one of your hosts. Just one. And I'm Michael.
And I'm just two. My name's Steve. We are here with Mr. Douglas Patterson, a local to our area.
Yeah, definitely. We haven't met him yet, but we like talking to people that work in the environment that we kind of do. Seems like a really interesting person. Not much of an online presence, so we can't give you an @ to follow him or anything, but hopefully this episode will do you well. Thanks so much for joining us, Doug. Liss.
Yeah, no problem, guys. I appreciate the ability to come on here and chat.
Yeah, man. It was really cool to have you reach out and say that you're interested in being on the show. So we're really happy to have you on and talk about all the really cool stuff that you're doing. Kind of the highlights, my highlights that I took away from what you told me is like the Icelandic sheep. I mean, that's cool as hell.
Awesome.
Yeah, they are. They're a bit wily. Right now, I have about 9 sheep right now, 1 ram, and all the females are pregnant. So
Oh, wow.
We'll be having sheep.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah. It was laziness on my part. Well, not really lazy. I've just been kind of caught up with my wife being pregnant and whatnot and having a baby.
Babies all around.
I fell a little bit behind. Yeah, we were going to hold off breeding the sheep this year, and then this happened. So
They took care of it themselves.
Another undertaking, for sure.
Hey, good problems,
They are. They're wonderful animals. They're absolutely beautiful. They have gorgeous long coats. But they are, I'd say, on the aggressive side. They like to jump. These things have horns, so you have to, get in there and kind of wrangle them around and make sure you're. Oh yeah. Shearing them is no easy feat. And,
right.
I'm still learning. On shearing. I don't have the best shearing equipment. These coats on these sheep is unbelievably thick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what you
a lot of fun.
You raise them and you groom them for wool, and then do you get like sheep's milk from them too, or what do you do?
No, we don't do the sheep's milk. I mean, I could. I don't have the time to do the daily rigmarole of
Sure.
milking them.
Sure.
In my situation right now, my current work situation. But what we do is we save the wool. We can send that off, and essentially people will clean it, and then we get it back in, yarn, like balls of yarn.
Sure.
And I mean, it's something I'm still learning how to do as far as, I haven't personally made anything out of the wool. We have butchered the animals. Like, I traded a ram for maybe 16 apple trees.
Whoa.
So like babies. Yeah. So I was bartering. So I met this guy on Craigslist. He's awesome. You guys should talk to him eventually. But I traded apple trees, and I mean, amazing, amazing apple trees, Liberty, chestnut crab, wine sap.
Nice.
This one called Sweet 16 from Size Trees in Michigan. He's an amazing, amazing grower out there. But yeah, he came over. We, where my farm's located, it's surrounded by schools and neighborhoods. So we just kind of turned up the tractor really loud.
Yeah.
And took it out with a 22.
Sure.
Bled it out over a trash can. I know this is pretty extreme, but I got the genetics of apple trees out of the deal. I figured it's something I can make is I can produce sheep and I can barter.
Yeah.
Do that sort of stuff with it.
That's the way things are
a lot
done,
of fun.
man.
Yeah. I like to give it as gifts and whatnot. And it's fantastic, grass fed, no
Sure.
grain, no hormones or anything like that. I did have a rough patch 2 years ago with my sheep. I lost half of my sheep to worms.
Oh, no way.
And essentially it's a worm that starts in their first stomach in one of their chambers
Mm-hmm.
and essentially starves them to death. They get a super high, well, not super high, but their blood flow stops. They get white gums, white underneath their eyes.
My
and
gosh.
we were just finding dead sheep, and it took forever for me to figure it out. But luckily, I have an amazing vet that I sent stool samples to, and he was able to tell me what kind of bacteria it was,
Mm-hmm.
and I was able to fix them with ivermectin, of all things.
Yay,
Sure.
there you go.
I mean, yeah, it's a clinical animal veterinary dewormer. Good for you for taking good care of your animals, man.
Yep.
I did get a little ahead of myself, though. I got excited and asked about the sheep. I wanted
all right,
we're
man. You're good.
what we're really here to hear about, though. I'm interested in like what the first thing you ever foraged was. You can't remember, like, did you learn that from your family, or was it like the rest of us just like randomly grabbing berries?
One of my earliest memories, like my parents had a farm in Plainfield, and my earliest memory is eating poisonous red berries. And just immediately, I was probably like 4 years old, and I remember eating them and it tasting like absolute trash. It was horrible. That's when I didn't pick berries. I was a dumb little kid. I didn't know any better. They were pretty.
They were red. Probably
but-
delicious.
Yeah. But growing up on my farm, we had mulberry trees, white mulberry trees. The berries are actually red, but it's considered a white mulberry.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just climb the tree and go up there and just eat mulberries for hours.
It's a lot of berries.
Not washing them, and obviously there's birds and everything that are up in the tree, so they can get kind of gross. But once again, I was young and I didn't care. I wasn't washing off the fruit or anything.
I still do that now.
Nah,
So.
yeah, you're fine. You were fine. That's pretty idyllic, if you ask me.
Yeah. But I've always been kind of a nature kid. I was in Boy Scouts growing up, so constantly camping and kind of getting to know nature, and I kind of fell in love with it.
Good.
I think my first project of growing stuff was, my first project, I grew a bunch of peppers when I was like 13, 14. It was right around when habaneros were starting to pop up. I'm 33 now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just kind of always had this neck to growing things, being on a farm. My family's always been about gardening and doing that sort of stuff. But I'd say in the last 3 years since I've been married, it ramps up every day. every day I'm constantly trying to find something new to plant in the area, or the new crops out here.
Are you on a pretty decent amount of land then?
The Right now I'm living on about three acres,
Mm-hmm.
and my parents have 16 acres.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
Nice.
And so I bale all of our own hay for the sheep,
Awesome.
load it up into the barn, and do all of that stuff. So it's not everything all at once. It's very daunting when you throw everything on one piece of paper, but each thing can take a certain amount of time. You just got to diversify your time properly,
Sure.
and you can really manage a lot.
Yeah, I always got a F on that in my grade card in elementary school. The notes were always talks a lot and F in time management. And look at me now.
Yeah.
I got 1,000 hobbies.
People always tell me I need to narrow down my hobbies, but I
That's no
can't
fun.
seem to do that.
Those are
I think
not
it's,
interesting people. You are an interesting person.
I have a lot to talk about. I definitely have a lot to talk about. It's constantly going. My wife calls it bee brain. And I'm focused on one thing, and I can't hear what else is going on in the world.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, it's a nice place to be sometimes, though. The world is loud and full of horrors.
You're amongst friends here. We're all very like-minded. We're all some form of gardener, forager, super into animals and plants, and
Steve grows chickens.
chickens,
I grow all sorts of I grow hazelnuts and prickly pear out of my parents' property, so definitely mirroring a lot of these. So tell us a little bit about something that you got really excited about finding this year. Is there anything in 2023 that you picked for the first time, or
2023, it would have been multiple things.
what was your favorite?
My favorite obsession right now. Ooh, it's a tie. It's a tie between figs and kiwi berries.
Hey, heck yeah!
Kiwi berries are that cold hardy tree, right?
It's actually a vine, not a vine. It's a vine. So like a grapevine, it's got a main stalk, and then it shoots out little tendrils, and it grabs stuff. The kiwi berry it's a vine, so it uses its main stalk to coil around things, and it will actually. I mean, it kind of looks like a vine. It acts like it, but it just doesn't have grippers.
So are you saying vine with a B?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I started doing a lot of research, trying to figure out different varieties, because I bought one from Sam's Club, and I was like, you know what? I've never seen this before. And then as soon as I got home, I'm like, went onto the computer and I couldn't stop thinking about kiwi berries for months and months and months. But I started researching who is in charge of the head of research and this stuff. And it's this, I'm drawing a blank on his name, but he's a professor in New Hampshire. And he has he has thousands of varieties of kiwi berries.
Oh,
and
wow.
I had no idea that there was thousands. There's red ones. There's they're all skinless.
Oh, dang. See, I was going to ask, are there any fuzzy ones?
That I'm not sure.
I want a fuzzy one.
That I'm not sure. But if people are interested in kiwi berries, there's a place in Michigan called Hartman's, and you can buy a specific type called Geneva 3. I think they have 6 different variations, but the Geneva 3 is this one that this guy named Yago in New Hampshire developed. And it's supposed to be the most delicious. It's the more large size, but I mean, that's what I'm going to be getting this year is I'm just going to buy a bunch of those. And they propagate really easily. I just took just green cuttings, and they would just root super easy.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they grow 23 feet tall. In about 3 to 5 years, you can have up to 200 pounds of kiwi berries growing up.
What the heck?
So I have an arbor that I currently have 4 female kiwi plants growing up, and you need male kiwi plants as well to pollinate.
And what do we call that, kids? Dioecious.
Yes, sir. And I mean, it's a new thing. I hear that they can handle up to negative 45 degrees. They're from
perfect.
Russia, supposedly, or Asia.
You're about to find out.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just in case they didn't survive. I took cuttings before the frost, and I rooted them in my grow room. Just in case they don't make it.
Nice. So, yeah, you sent us a picture of the little grow room that you have there. Are those, you mentioned having an affinity for figs as well. Were those figs in there, or they kind of look like sassafras?
Yes.
Okay.
That's fig.
I have, there's quite a few things in there right now. I have mulberries, figs, and then I am bonsaiing a catalpa tree.
Oh my God, you just hit wow, you just hit a bullseye in me I didn't even know I had by combining one of my favorite trees for no reason. I mean, besides the reason that it's just beautiful, catalpa.
Yeah.
And then you're bonsaiing it. That's
absolutely
so fun.
Gorgeous.
I want to see another picture of that.
Yeah. It's only one shoot right now. I'm trying to slow its growth by a smaller pot. Another weird project I wanted to do was take a bunch of native trees in our area and bonsai them, and just make sugar maple bonsai.
Please do.
Mulberry bonsai, and just have a bunch of what we got here in Zone 5B.
I love it.
I think that is such a fun idea.
Yeah. But so the mulberry backstory, other than me being obsessed as a child, I got obsessed with figs at some point because they're related to mulberries. And my mom had a tree for like 15 years. She didn't know how to prune it or take care of it. So it was super long, spindly, had never been outside, it never produced fruit. And,
it was an indoor tree? Oof.
Yeah, an indoor tree. And I mean, it was really beautiful. Dinner-sized plate, like leaves and whatnot. Just never fruited. It's a Chicago hardy. So this was the first year that it has been pruned. I taught her how to prune it. So we got about 20 cuttings off of that
great.
tree. So we
dude.
propagated all of those, and they all took, which is they're the easiest things to take care of. But my ADD got off track with the mulberry stuff. I had a hernia earlier this year during summer, so I was off work, and I was like, you know what? I need to do something with my time because I can't sit still. So I went looking for berries because I wanted to make jam, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go just drive around and look for wet spots on the road because if you see wet spots, that's where you're going to see these mulberry trees just dumping mulberries. And I drove past this one spot. I'm like, oh, this seems awesome, and it was a graveyard.
Oh, sure.
And I went
yeah, foragers be like, no big deal.
Yeah, no big deal. This
totally
is
normal thing
property.
to do.
So I went into the graveyard to this mulberry tree, and I mean, I went all over. I spent probably about 2 weeks driving around looking for mulberry trees, and I went to parks and all of that. And I was looking for specific types, big berries, close nodes to each other, so very close spacing. And I found this at the graveyard. So I went there every 2 days, and I picked about 5 to 6 to 7 pounds of berries off of like easy to grab branches.
That's awesome.
Wow.
And I'm like, this is unbelievable. So I'm like, I have to have the genetics of this tree. So I went back and I took a bunch of cuttings, and I'm going to grow that exact tree, but on my property with the sheep, with my chickens, because
Heck yeah.
a fully developed mulberry tree can feed up to like 5 hogs.
That's awesome.
So
wow.
Yeah.
if I'm pruning it and keeping it healthy, not wild or anything like that, it's free food for all my animals.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
it's so good for them.
Yeah. Have you tried eating them yourself?
Oh, I eat them constantly while I'm picking them. Constantly.
Nice.
So you have figs, kiwi berries, mulberries, 16 apple trees. I'm coming over, Douglas.
Yes, absolutely. You guys are absolutely welcome. And I bought a bunch of nut trees, so
Nice.
I'm doing. I did get 2 persimmons, 2 persimmon trees, American persimmon trees, and I planted them in the pasture because, from what I read online, sheep do not eat the American persimmon trees. They don't like the leaves.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they ate both my trees. They ate both. And I'm like, this is miserable. And I just put them in the ground, and it was this fall, right before winter. I did a bunch of planting, and
They didn't mention anything
to make
about
sure that-
Icelandic sheep.
yeah, they didn't say anything about the Icelandic sheep. That's for sure.
That's a tragedy, though, man.
yeah,
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, you live and you learn. I'm just gonna have to put them outside of the pasture, kind of like everything else. But I'm only a year into planting all of these apple trees, so it's going to be a few years before I start reaping the benefits. But in the long run, the grand scheme of things, trading all of that for fully developed apple trees, I mean, it's a trade worthwhile.
Oh, totally worth
for
it.
sure. Wowie wow! We've got a new hot sauce for you.
It's so delicious.
It's spicy.
It's spicier for sure.
Spicier. It's called Harvest Moon, made with ghost peppers, American persimmons,
and spice bush berry.
It's gonna be great. We also have t-shirts available. Brand new t-shirts.
The best t-shirts, I think.
Baseball tees.
Scrumpers United.
If you've collected apples, if you've collected fruit, you're
Welcome to the club.
You're welcome to a club. You're a scrumper. So check out our merch store, wildedibleworldpod.myshopify.com. Wowie wow! Yeah.
Totally worth it.
What kind of nut trees are you working with?
What I got is American hazelnut, heart nut, butternut, black walnut, chestnut, and northern pecan. It's quite the list.
That's awesome.
That's a nice spread.
I'm
Yeah, it is.
trying to hit all of them.
I just heard about Heart Nut
the,
this year. A friend of the pod, Jed Jed Arkle, my bad, Jed. Drop Seed Ecology sells Heart Nut, and I was really thinking about getting them. Have you tried them before?
I think we're talking about the same guy.
Yeah, Jed's our dude.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Jed is my guy. He's the one I gave he killed the Icelandic sheep.
Oh, that's the guy you're talking. Oh, that's so fun. I had
That's
no
frickin'
idea.
sweet.
Yeah, that totally tracks. He's got amazing crab apples and American plums. His nursery stock is just off the charts. It's so underrated.
Yes. I've been to his house. The guy is amazing. Jed is a one of a kind. I was trying to meet up with him. I texted him, and he's like, "Yeah, can't really do anything now. I'm in northern Minnesota picking wild rice."
Mm-hmm. He's that dude.
Sounds about right.
That's Jed. Yeah, Jed is amazing. That's where I got all those apple trees from. So kudos to Jed.
For real. Yep, that's where I got my hazelnuts from. If I can get a plant from him, then that's where I'm buying it because it's just amazing stock. Well, that's awesome.
Absolutely
Small
amazing.
world.
Yeah, super small world. And the funny thing is I don't have the online presence, so it's I can't believe that. That's so cool.
Yeah,
that's
I
pretty
don't know
funny.
many people named Jed.
Well, I mean, there's only so many people out there growing and not only growing them, but selling these kinds of plants. And then to find one nearby you, Jed's in Illinois as well. So, yeah, I mean, it when you do the math, it makes sense, but it's it's always kind of fun to run into a mutual friend. So that's cool.
Yeah, he's definitely an inspiration, that's for sure.
Oh,
Great
absolutely. Guy. Yeah, we're trying to have him on the show. Wink, Jed. Come on, man.
Yep, that's hilarious. So I've been kind of diversifying my fig tree varieties. I went through a gentleman called the Fig Hunter in I think Northern California. I want to say. Don't get me wrong, but he travels all over California while he's working, and then stops along the highways and marks out on his GPS wild fig trees, and then comes back when it's fruiting season to taste the fruit. If he likes it, he cuts it, and then he propagates it at home and then sells those.
That's awesome.
But
There you go.
the Fig Hunter is also a really, really good connection if you're looking into fig tree genetics.
That's fun. I had never heard of this guy. But that's also a story I feel like I've heard before where it's like these priceless, or I guess not priceless since he's putting a price on them, but these incredibly valuable or thought to be lost genetics of these plants are literally just growing on the side of the highways. You just have to be aware enough and stop and take a look at them. And I've just heard that story so many times, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, you can see that's where I was inspired to then be like, you know what? There's a mulberry tree in my area that's probably better than any of the other mulberry trees that's made it down the genetic line. And I'm like, I need to go find it. I want to find it because not all mulberry trees are the exact same.
So true.
They're not. They may look like it, but the flavors can be completely different. But I mean, that could also be environmental and
yeah, it's definitely a mixture
so.
It's environmental and genetic for sure, because white mulberries just in general are known to be a less quality fruit to the North American red mulberry, which is larger, more succulent, sweeter. But they're hybridizing. I've never tasted native red mulberry. I've always only had white mulberry, and some of them have been very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I haven't had a red mulberry. I've only seen one picture from Jed he sent me, and the leaf was like a fig tree leaf.
Yes.
It was
massive.
just massive foliage.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I need to grow that. I have to find it, and I have to grow that.
Good luck. I hope you do. I really do, because that would be nice to know that there are some. I've only found a few of them, and it's never been in the right season, but you can just tell from like the bark and the size of the leaves. It's a beautiful, it's an impressive tree. We should bonsai it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Probably one of my craziest wild harvest things, though, was at my parents' house, and they had a tree limb that was about to fall onto their pawpaws. And I'm like, I will gladly take care of it, because there was a beehive in this giant branch that's probably 40 feet up. So I got a scissor lift, and I went up there with a chainsaw, and I hacked away until I got to this hive, which must have been 5 feet tall and well over 200 pounds of honey inside of this thing. And I basically used a small electric steel chainsaw and cut it in half, like I booked it. I cut it lengthwise in half and opened it up, and basically took rubber bands, and I cut out the comb, and I put them into the frames, and it took 2 days.
Yeah,
to do
I bet.
it, honestly.
Yeah.
I couldn't get it all done in one day, but thankfully it didn't rain or anything like that. But I successfully moved a beehive from a tree into a what is it?
Apiary?
It's an insulated beehive.
Oh, okay.
Yep. I
That's
have a
fucking incredible.
beehive at my parents, and then a beehive at my house as well.
So you were already working with bees when you had to harvest this hive?
Yes, and I honestly got into bees because there was a beehive up there, and I knew that branch was going to come down, and we were going to have to pay for some service to do it. I'm like, well, I already got the suit. I got the chainsaw. I might as well, take care of this myself. And it was the sweatiest, smokiest, most disgusting, stickiest I've ever been in my entire life.
And totally worth it, right?
But totally worth it.
That's
Totally
awesome.
worth it. I made my money's worth in honey. That's for
Heck
sure.
yeah, you did.
I bet. Yeah, it's expensive. I work with a bee rescue service to get my honey, and it's definitely a valuable service.
Oh, that's awesome.
I gotta ask though, did you get stung?
I got stung hundreds of times.
Hell yeah.
Getting that. I mean, honeybee stings are nothing in comparison to a wasp sting.
Sure.
Like, once you get stung a couple of times, you're like, that's annoying. That's really annoying. But I could totally understand their frustration. Ripping through their home with a chainsaw.
Yeah, an admirable amount of empathy.
Yeah, I mean, they dumped out. It was a sight to see, that's for sure.
Like a horror movie, like the Mummy.
Small amount yes. Yeah, exactly, like the skin beetles.
Yeah, just pouring out of his mouth.
Yeah, it was one heck of an adventure, and borderline panic.
Oh yeah, I bet that was a little terrifying.
When you're starting this, you realize that this is an event, and you have to finish it. Otherwise, I've just wasted my time.
And wasted so much honey and resources for the bees too. It's not just you involved too.
Thankfully, it wasn't as crazy as a mess inside of it. What was interesting was finding a robin's nest in there with eggs that were like mummified in like honeycomb.
No way.
It was pretty crazy.
So you had like honey cured robin's eggs?
it was more like the propolis was covering it, and they used that to like seal off stuff. It's antifungal. It helps keep the beehive clean, and they like use it to seal off areas, open areas like drafty and whatnot.
That's a pretty cool find, though. That's, yeah, I would imagine pretty surprising to find in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Have you guys heard of Colombian Star blackberries?
Colombian
I don't
Star
think so.
blackberries, no. I have Chester. I think I have Chester blackberries or something like that.
You got those from Jed.
Yeah.
I got the same. I got the
Guilty.
same one. Yeah. It's so awesome. Yeah, I got these Colombian Star blackberries, and they are supposedly the largest red blackberry that's out there right now. So they're about like 2 to 3 inches in length. They're huge. They're absolutely huge. I just planted them, so I haven't seen the production for them yet. I still need to build the trellis. I think they're second-year producers. They grow off a second-year growth or whatever.
That's
But
incredible.
Steve just pulled up a picture of them, of what the berries are supposed to look like, and those are gorgeous.
yeah, they're absolutely gorgeous. And I'm like, you know what? I have endless amounts of fertilizer to feed all of these plants.
Yes, you do.
Endless amounts of fertilizer.
So
They
you
can
have that.
all the chicken poop they want.
Yeah, no kidding. And chicken poops is very underrated fertilizer.
Definitely.
Shout out Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tomatoes with
Got all kinds
Okay.
of it.
How many chickens do you have, Steve?
I only have 4. I have 2
Oh,
Barred Rock and then 2 Rhode Island Red.
oh, I love those. I have, I got these new ones this year. They're lavender Orpingtons.
Oh, I've seen those.
And they're
Those are
like-
gorgeous.
They're like gray, blue, purpley looking.
Mm-hmm.
And the feathers are so soft.
How many do
They're-
you have?
Absolutely. I have a mixed batch. I probably have 50 chickens.
Oh, Jesus.
Something like that. Yeah, just around 50 chickens here, and then my parents have, I think, like 30
Nice.
chickens over there. Yeah. I sell my eggs to my coworkers and my my cousin, who's an elementary school teacher.
Ah.
She takes all my eggs from me.
Nice.
She takes all of them. It's pretty awesome. I love taking care of the birds,
Oh,
even
absolutely.
though it's
They're the coolest pets.
negative
for sure.
7 outside right now.
Mm-hmm.
Do you give them light so they're still laying, or are they kind of like in their dormant period?
Well, since these are newer chickens, they're laying every day. My older chickens, which are like 3 years old, they're laying like every 3 days. So the baby production's definitely coming out, which is awesome because I can still be selling eggs to make money to buy the bird feed.
Sure, right? It's got to be at least like a closed loop, and you can't be losing money.
Definitely not.
Yeah. And that's the convenience of having the younger chickens. I think this spring I'm gonna try to, if I can afford it, build another coop and do turkeys.
Oh,
I
Hey.
really want to do turkeys.
Or you have any interest in quail?
I you know, if I can be swayed, if that's possible. What are the quails for, more or less? I haven't eaten it. I haven't consumed the eggs or anything like that. Or
Yeah, I mean they're just as edible birds.
I don't know
as-
much about them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would even say that quail are, like, if you stack them side by side nutritionally, sure, they're smaller, but they're more nutritionally dense than a chicken egg. If you look at the
Oh yeah.
if you look at the nutritional facts side by side,
And safer to eat raw.
and take up way less space. I think a quail needs like I don't know, like 1.6 cubic feet
Huh.
minimum, of course. But like people raise quail in essentially what looks like a giant bookshelf.
Yeah.
I don't know. I personally, it's something I'm considering, and if I do it, I'm going to do I could guess more of like a free range. So I want to create like a little quail oasis.
Yeah, a little prairie,
Yeah,
It's,
exactly.
some wild grass and stuff like that. I mean,
Oh,
one of
that'd
the
be awesome.
yeah, there's a really cool conservation organization that that I've paid attention to for the last couple of years, just because I buy their calendar or whatever, and it's Pheasants and Quails Forever, and their conservation program that's really dedicated to, and most hunting licensing programs and stuff like that, the money really does go back into the programming and the purpose of their objective, whatever they're saying they're going to do. And PFQF is all about restoring local marshlands and grasslands and stuff like that, so that we can increase quail population. So they are a really cool animal that is around here. Ever heard of a prairie chicken?
No.
Kind of coming out of left field at you with that one, but I saw a prairie chicken once, and it bewildered me. It was so colorful, and I didn't know that there
Really?
was such a thing. Yeah, I had no idea there was such a thing. Sorry,
That's awesome.
went on a little bit of a tirade.
We have wild turkeys where I live, and they come through my yard in the spring, and it's 10 of them, and they walk back and forth, and they're absolutely beautiful birds.
Mm-hmm.
My dogs don't like them, but part of my backyard, I really wanted to do some sort of, not necessarily a nature preserve. I have something, I think it's called a VOMP or something like that, where it's not technically a swamp, but it's not technically a pond.
Yeah.
And essentially, so 2 sections of the season, and currently right now, it floods, but it goes away, so I can't have fish.
Right.
So,
but you have
I started,
thousands of chorus frogs in the springtime, I bet.
And mosquitoes. Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Oh, damn.
It is so loud, and it is so many mosquitoes, and it makes watering. I mean, it's a couple hours watering every day. It makes that a little bit tough, but luckily I have a bee suit that I can just slap on that breathes well, and I can just get the watering done.
Multi-purpose, nice.
Yeah, absolutely. But so I'm in the middle of transitioning a chunk of my backyard from that swampy area, and I'm putting in an actual lake, because I do want to bring in more migrating birds. I love bird watching.
Heck yeah.
All of that stuff, and having them in my backyard. And there's a lot of prairie grass, so there's a great areas for them to nest. And I just want to create an oasis for the animals, because in Oswego it is getting overdeveloped. They're putting neighborhoods and schools everywhere. Mm-hmm. And I want to preserve that as much as I can here and have the, natural area. But, with a lot more fruit trees, a lot more fruits. And, I want to be able to take some and give some back, plant, raspberries and all of that in the backyard. And so they can enjoy it and not come up to my house and then take all of it.
Yeah, definitely.
No kidding. Yeah.
Do you have any bat houses by chance?
I do not have bat houses, but what I do have is a barn.
Oh yeah, that's like a giant bat house.
Yeah. Haven. It is a haven for bats. Hundreds and hundreds of bats fly in and out of that barn when it's summertime. Then they migrate out.
Sure.
But currently our barn is filled with wild pigeons.
Oh, very cool.
There are maybe
bats of the day.
13 pigeons that live in that barn, and occasionally get picked off by the hawks that live in the area.
Sure.
you can. It's pretty crazy watching the hawks attack the pigeons.
So, is there do you have a favorite wild mushroom that you like to forage?
This year was my first year actually going out and looking for wild mushrooms.
Ooh, okay.
And,
So, what'd you find?
So I'm a novice to it. I ended up getting a lot of turkey tail.
Sure.
The
Word.
maple trees that I cut down that had the beehive in it, all of it's riddled with turkey tail. Like, just it is pretty amazing sight to see is how much and how prolific that it grows where we cut it down. So we're just letting it go, and then I can just harvest that. I think my favorite, best find though was the reishi mushroom that I found in my backyard. I sent you a picture of it.
Oh yeah.
And I couldn't believe it. I had no idea that they grew in our area. So I cut it off the tree, and I cut a section off, and I put it like back onto. I don't know if it's actually going to help spread. It's not pollen, spores or anything like that. But I put it onto another cut mulberry tree that it was essentially growing off of.
Awesome.
In hopes that it will continue the growth on that. But
Yeah.
I haven't consumed it yet. I was able to dry it. I mean, it is the prettiest looking mushroom, I think.
Yeah. Oh, they're beautiful.
Super shiny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, as far as that, I think those were the only two. I did plant in my mulch. I put wine cap mushroom spawn.
Oh, awesome.
And it said it would. I got it from Northern Spore. They said it would be like 3 months, and I didn't see any wine cap come up this year. I don't know if it was because it was too hot or anything. I thought they were pretty durable. But what did come up was stinkhorn.
Oh, no way.
Lots of stinkhorn came up, and I didn't know much about it. They're absolutely foul smelling, but you can eat the pre-stinkhorn called the witch's egg.
Mm-hmm.
So before it actually comes out, then you eat the witch's egg. I'm not brave enough to do it. It looks like a slimy eyeball.
Yeah. And from what I understand, it pretty much tastes and feels like a slimy eyeball, too. It's got like a weird grit in it. Have you ever eaten an eyeball?
No. I can't say that I have.
Oh, I'm the only person who's eaten an eyeball in this conversation?
Sorry, guy.
Holy moly.
Yeah, I know. You'd think I would eat something gross, but I think I couldn't stomach it.
I cooked a couple of salmon heads last year, and I caught a whole trout, and so I've eaten fish eyes. So, okay.
Awesome.
We are almost. We're almost out of time for this episode, but I wanted to ask if you had any specific anything you were gonna try and forage this year. Do you have any goals of anything you're trying to pick?
I think I'm definitely going to be going more. We'll spend a lot more time mushroom hunting this year. I just need to find my spots. I don't know really any people that go out and forage. I am a part of the mycology group, Illinois.
Yeah, the Northern Illinois.
Yes,
Nice.
but I can't make it out to a lot of the events, so
Sure.
I feel like I'm definitely missing out on a lot of those big adventures.
It's all right. We can have small adventures.
Got plenty of time, yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I think I'm going to try to do some more mushroom scavenging and not picking mulberries because I think I overdid it with the amount of time I had off from surgery. I got about maybe 70 to 70 pounds ish
Oh,
of mulberries.
jeez, dude.
Yeah, it was a lot. I mean, every 2 days this tree just kept flushing out mulberries, and that's why I needed its genetics.
Yeah, that's a
But
beautiful thing, man.
I'm very excited for spring, and I want to have a giant head start. Get as many fig cuttings as possible, as many mulberry cuttings as possible.
Nice. Yeah,
I
you're off
think
to a
if I
good
can
start.
Put it out there and give them to people, and I think that's kind of my goal. Spread the infinite abundance that we have at our fingertips. You
No
just
kidding.
need to learn how to look and how to produce it. Take care of it.
True that, Douglas. Man, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you. We're really happy to have find another person of similar interest around the area. We'll definitely have to meet up sometime, and like maybe if you like the bartering thing, trade you some hot sauce for some cuttings or some fig trees or something. Hook you up.
Absolutely, we can do that for sure.
Cool, man. Well, don't find Douglas on the internet because he's not there.
You can email me though if you have questions about certain stuff.
Ooh.
Hey, what's the email?
And that's totally fine. It's DouglasPatterson405@gmail.com.
You heard it here, folks. Flood his inbox.
Otherwise, you can
There
catch
you go.
Douglas on his next appearance on the Wild Edible World podcast.
Word.
Absolutely.
In
Keep you
person.
guys posted.
Ooh, in person.
Yes,
I like that.
that would
Yeah.
be great.
Heck yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, you guys you're more than welcome to come here once cold season's over.
Oh, we will intrude.
Yeah. you're going to regret that, my friend.
Absolutely.
No, I'm just kidding. All right.
All right. Thanks so much, Douglas.
Yeah, it was a pleasure chatting with you, gentlemen. Thank you so much.
You too, man. Stay warm out there.
Yep, you too.
Bye-bye. Douglas.
Oh, man. What a cool guy. So
Yeah.
many facets.
Yeah, right. So many facets, a lot of different interests. Reminds me a lot of myself. But yeah, man, get out there, keep picking, find those mushrooms.
Yeah.
It's a whole different world than plants. And can you imagine what this guy is gonna do once he finds something to get obsessed about with the mushrooms?
Yeah.
He's gonna have like a whole freaking mushroom farm, and like he's gonna be one of those dudes growing cordyceps out of eggs.
Yes.
You ever see that?
Yeah.
Freaky.
Yeah.
Freaky stuff. But yeah, I mean, somebody's got to do it. So it's been a really cool guest. It was fun to talk to him. Can't wait to meet him and check out some of his trees and his 50 freaking chickens, I guess.
Yeah, he's not on social media, but luckily we are, so
Yeah.
we'll show you what his stuff looks like.
Yeah. He sent us some pictures. So we'll definitely, whenever we post this episode, we'll share a bunch of the pictures that he sent us of like his farm and a bunch of his grow room. Picture of him standing next to a huge slab of what do you call it? What was it?
I don't remember.
It was a softwood. It's oh my gosh, I'm gonna remember it as soon as it's got like slippy.
Looks like you'll have
It
to
was
check
massive.
the Instagram.
Yeah, you'll have to check the Instagram for this big ass tree. But thanks for listening as always, guys. Check out our merch. Check out our hot sauce. Follow Steve at StevieK2. Follow me at Edible Illinois. Share the show. Tell your friends. Give them a hug. Tell them you love them.
Twice a day.
Because we love you.
We love you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Wowie wow. We've got a new hot sauce for you.
It's so delicious.
It's spicy.
It's spicier for sure.
Spicier. It's called Harvest Moon, made with ghost peppers, American persimmons,
and spice bush berry.
It's gonna be great. We also have t-shirts available. Brand new t-shirts.
The best t-shirts, I think.
Baseball tees.
Scrumpers United.
If you've collected apples, if you've collected fruit, you're
Welcome to the club.
You're welcome to a club. You're a scrumper. So check out our merch store, wildedibleworldpod.myshopify.com. Wowie wow!